Okay, look, I possibly could have been off slightly.
Right. Alright, give me a second. I'm gonna be eating dinner and stuff, so you guys try and get Anthony back on here, and I'll be right back with after I get done eating. So, I have it recording right now.
Yeah,
So
I'm here and I'm eating too.
I'm afraid it's not that simple, my son. Anyway, yeah, I'll be back as soon as I can. You guys just
Yeah, I think Gray Shot might be right. I think Pacific time is 3 hours behind Eastern time.
yes,
It is. It's 2 hours behind Central Time. That's why I said 4.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. So I'll be. Oh, great, Anthony. Oh, now he's back online. I guess he was just resetting his computer. So I'll be right back.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we'll see if we can hear him.
I hope. Fingers crossed.
Awful lot of honkies in here.
And guys, remember, since Anthony is not, please keep it civil for this KWCC.
Yeah, or at least familiar with our humor, I guess we should say.
Yeah.
Oh, so we can't discuss the new Thundercats cartoon then, right?
Oh.
Yeah, also, Gray Shot, no communism for you.
Yeah, lay off the Applebee's, man.
Yeah, don't offer drugs.
Just hugs.
I don't know, his hugs may be laced with a lot of drugs.
At least it'll be tasteful.
Well, if we start the podcast right now, I should be able to go for 2 hours. I'm just back in Pennsylvania.
I can't really hear you, Gray Shot. You're kind of cutting off a little.
Oh, I'm currently in Pennsylvania at the moment, so I'm
okay.
back at. So that's why
What are you doing in Pennsylvania?
visiting family. I moved down to Texas 2 years ago, but I'm originally from the Pittsburgh side, so I
Nice.
just seeing friends, family, which is why
So, did you guys see Deadpool 2 yet?
Yes.
It's pretty funny.
I
Kinda
feel
liked
the
it more than the
was
first one.
Yeah, I like the first one a little bit better.
I mean,
You're talking into a can.
Yeah. I mean, aside from like one little thing from the second one, I do think the second one's a bit better. It seems to be more focused. Because I don't know, with the first one, with the constant flashbacks, it could be a little off-putting at times.
I don't know. I feel like with 2, they also tried to juggle a few too many plot lines.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I won't spoil it in case Joe hasn't seen it. But yeah, I think one plot line kind of like bounced back and forth like towards the beginning.
Did we make somebody sad?
We might have.
I think it just disconnects. There we go.
But I did like some of the references that they made.
Am I coming
Yeah.
through better now?
Yeah, I can hear you better.
Okay,
What?
and I don't sound like a can.
Nah, not at the moment.
Do I
Sweet.
sound like a can?
Gray Shell was giving mouth to mouth to a can.
Ah.
Was it tasteful?
It was not. But I will say Deadpool 2, I do agree, I don't think it's as good as the first one. But I will say, I still think it's a rather good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I just didn't feel it was as strong as the first one.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely second that.
Minority here, but yeah, I'm gonna say the second one's a bit better. Both are still great movies. It's just I kind of prefer the second one at the moment.
I kind of hated a little bit how they beat the main villain, or final boss, or whatever you want to call
Yeah,
him.
it kind of did seem a little. Not to give any spoilers because I don't think Joe has seen it yet, but yeah, I do agree
Yeah.
that did you see it, Joe?
No.
Okay, I'll just say yeah. It just seems like one of the villains was tacked on just for the sake of it, just so they could. Oh, we have another guy to fight because this would be way too easy if it was just that one person.
Was it Squidward? Like in Infinity War?
Yeah.
You know what's really hilarious? Ebony Maw was way more interesting than Steppenwolf from Justice League.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's because Steppenwolf doesn't have a personality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And hell, the Black Order,
douchebag.
at least one of the Black Order had a personality, or was at least memorable.
Yep.
Yeah, no. Otherwise, I agree. Some of the like the end credit scene, I will say, is far superior to the first one.
Oh, the end credit scene of the second one is amazing. I love it.
What, you don't like
agree.
the Ferris Bueller reference at the end of the first movie?
It's
Yeah, Corey,
good.
shut up. What's
but
wrong
this-
with Ferris Bueller?
Bueller.
Toby,
Bueller.
Matthew
not-
Broderick.
Did you not like how Ferris Bueller fought Godzilla?
Bueller.
That was 20 years ago.
Don't you mean the equivalent to 9/11 of Godzilla happened?
Yes.
No, I will say that yeah, the movie did a lot better. Do I think it's better than Infinity War? I think Infinity War is stronger. I actually think I laughed more openly in Infinity War, but I still the Deadpool 2 is still a really, really good movie.
Oh yeah, both of them are. Yeah, so far all the superhero movies have been good so far of this year.
Hold on, guys. Venom is still coming up. It's prepping
Oh,
to disappoint.
yeah.
Don't
can we
you worry.
really call that a
Hold my
superhero
beer.
movie? Isn't it? Shouldn't it be called an anti-hero movie?
Shouldn't it be called what it is? Hot garbage.
Don't you mean a burning dumpster fire on top of a train wreck?
You mean Thundercats Roar?
Apparently, the what's it called? Apparently, the Spider-Man was seen on set for that movie. So
Oh, is it the
Tobey Maguire?
new Spider-Man?
the new Spider-Man, yeah, he was spotted on set of that movie.
Tom Holland? Or
Yep,
new
Tom Holland.
Spider-Man?
Oh boy.
So I'm guessing Sony's gonna be like, everyone likes the Spider-Man, so we're just gonna, because if they do the Ultimate Verse with this, then I'm pretty sure that universe of Spider-Man dies and Miles Morales is the Spider-Man.
You know,
So
Nobody likes Miles Morales.
Well, I mean, he's going to be the star of that animated one coming in December.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually kind of interested in seeing that one.
It looks good, but I
It-
still don't give a damn about Miles.
I'm not too familiar with this character. What's exactly wrong with that character?
He's just a blander Peter with extra powers tossed in. Like, he can become invisible. He has, like, something called, like, a Venom Blast that can apparently, like, one-shot powerhouses like Blackheart. So it's kind of like the OC Spider-Man that's stronger than the original.
Ah.
My OC could kick your OC's ass.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, he does actually have potential to be a good character. It's just all of those opportunities keep getting squandered.
You never know. The filmmakers of that movie could make him interesting. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah. And from what the trailer looks like, at least it'll be pretty.
Yeah, it'll be nice, fun to look at.
oh my god, yeah, the art style looks amazing. It's definitely unique in regards to the design, but I also think that's partly due to Sony being like, okay, we need to do something different because our animated game has been kind of horrible as of late.
We need
Well,
to
if I
make
remember
a
correctly,
movie.
they got the person that did Gravity Falls to work on that movie, which I actually liked that show, or at least the first season, anyways.
Also, I'm kind of nervous about Aquaman, just because after Justice
Oh my
League.
god, I forgot about that.
You know what's hilarious?
Aquaman.
Aquaman's coming out the same day as that Spider-Man movie.
Serious? Oh, Spider-Man's gonna wreck.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm definitely watching Spider-Man over that.
yeah. Well, your only other choice is the Bumblebee movie.
Oh.
I think
that's
I'll
a
watch
hard
Momoa
pass.
Man over Bumblebee.
But
I mean,
yeah,
but what
think
about? But how are you guys are you guys interested in wasps?
Wasps? Oh
Like
my
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing
Oh.
that.
Oh,
I
yeah,
actually
it
like the
looks
first
like
one a lot.
Maybe. I might see it.
I forget, Joe, have you still not seen the first one yet?
I haven't seen it, but yesterday I picked up the Blu-ray.
Nice. Yeah, you should watch it. It's actually kind of nice. It's like
It's
on
fun.
a smaller scale,
Yeah.
which is
Oh, yeah.
appreciated from time
And
to
it's a
time.
bit different.
I have gotten the situation done yet. Great.
Hmm.
Yeah, because every now and then I think you need that smaller scale movie like a Spider-Man Homecoming
Hmm
or the Ant-Man.
I think also the only thing I will say about Ant-Man is the villain was kind of okay. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't spectacular either.
Hey, he was
Other-
more
The
like
cool thing about him was the yellow jacket suit.
All right, so
Yeah.
who scared off Anthony?
Oh.
well. At least Yellow Jacket was more like Ultron than the movie Ultron was.
Well, here's what I have to say about the Ultron in the MCU. He's different. That's kind of why I'm okay with this interpretation of Ultron being different, because he wasn't created by Hank Pym. I still get the complaint or like the criticisms, but I'm just saying I don't think it's like too much of a bad thing that he's different because he was created by someone else.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would probably be more okay with it, if the test audiences or whatever didn't react well, and they just kind of made him more of a wuss instead of a threat.
I think the main problem was the trailers being a tad misleading.
Yeah.
Well,
And this is coming from someone who actually loved that movie. Who, honestly, that's kind of one of my favorites of the MCU, which is an unpopular opinion.
originally they were wanting to make it more intimidating, but the test audiences, I guess, apparently didn't like that, so they tried to make him a bit more quippy and stuff like that.
Which I could kind of get, considering he's a tad based off Tony Stark. But yeah. I do think at times he should have been a bit more serious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, so what's the situation with Arbok? Like, anything going on there, or did he just kind of
Nothing. I haven't received anything yet.
Oh.
Did he say
Nothing-
anything or like
He-
message anything when he was here? Because I saw him in here and I was like, oh,
right. Yeah, he was in here, but he didn't respond. Like, he did not communicate back. I heard some thump, like, or something like that. Like, I heard some thumping, but I didn't hear anything from him, so...
Oh, he's back on.
Okay,
Oh.
Gray Shot, just try and communicate with him, because obviously, I mean, you got him on here, so he should know the basics of how this works, so...
Hmm.
Gray Shot, you're giving mouth to mouth to the can again.
Yeah, that quality dropped big time. I don't know.
Oh,
Grisha, did you go far away?
yeah, I know. I just pulled my phone away from my head. That's why. So, but should be fine now.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Alright. Yeah, the sooner we can get him in here, the sooner we can properly start, I guess. Feel bad for the audience.
Yeah, I've got the Kaiju. What I meant is with that message, I'm back in Pennsylvania. I'm not in Texas, which is what. So I've got my
right.
computer pulled up. So I've got the analytics down. So I'm all set for the matches.
Mhm.
It's just I'm meeting my family for dinner.
Right,
For
gotcha.
dinner at I've got to leave like
Applebee's.
6 o'clock my EST.
Oh, right.
Applebee's for Gray Shot and his family.
Listen. I went to Applebee's last night. It's TGI Fridays today.
Hang on a second. Let me
Gray
take care of
Shot,
something.
Gray Shot. Tell TGI Fridays to fuck off and go back to Applebee's.
Oh, Anthony said he'll be doing this.
What?
Anthony said just send me a message.
Oh, he's here.
He's
We see
joining.
him.
Oh.
Hello?
Hello?
Is it me you're looking for?
What?
Yeah, I think I can
Hey,
hear him.
Anthony. Yeah,
How's
we
it
can
going?
hear you, man.
Okay,
Going well. Just a bit of a chaos. Yeah, currently I'm back in Pennsylvania, so I'm organizing all this on my phone and my computer, or my laptop for work. So I think we got everything down. Kaiju X had to go for a quick second, but
I'm back now.
oh, okay, sweet.
Oh, cool.
All right.
Woohoo, we can start this.
Properly after like 20 minutes of shenanigans.
Yeah.
All right, let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's KWCC. And today we have a special guest on for the podcast, and I think this might be your first podcast. Welcome.
That's correct. I've done webinars and stuff in the past, not related to stuff I like Godzilla and stuff, but this is definitely my first podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome.
Oh yeah, Anthony Romero. I forgot to mention my name there, but yeah.
I was going to introduce you, but I guess that works.
He's
Feature
pulling
the
ranks,
punch.
Kaiju X. Command.
But yeah, this is Anthony Romero, the site founder, or let me find my words there, Toho Kingdom founder. So I'll run with that.
Yep.
Yes, and right below him, but still a leg up from Kaiju X. This is Tyler, or Greyjaw151, everyone.
Actually, Tyler, you're actually like 2 steps down. My brother is 1 step ahead of you.
Darn it! I forgot about that. We're in this podcast, in this immediate podcast.
Fair enough.
Well, now we have to have your brother, Kaiju X.
I mean, he's like literally in the other room, but the podcasts aren't really his thing, so.
Oh, darn, I'm so sorry to hear he's so far away. I guess he won't be able to join.
He's off fighting in the war.
All right. So with that said, Anthony, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, so that way the audiences can get to know you better, I suppose.
Sure. So I mean, as it was mentioned, founded Toho Kingdom quite a few years ago, over 10, back when Godzilla 2000 was about to come out, and so that was the latest thing at the time. Although that's quite a ways away since then. Had taken the site from basically a freebie thing done on like GeoCities Homestead, I think was the name, to something where we're hosting it more professionally now and get millions of people visiting each year, which is great. A lot of content being done, and just overseeing that for quite a while now. But yeah, that's the gist of it. But all around fan of everything Toho. That unique approach was taken from another site that I used to frequent back in the 90s called Tohotopia, which had a similar focus, and we kind of adopted that and have kept it ever since, which kind of gives us that unique angle there versus a lot of other Godzilla sites and stuff around.
Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. Let's see. My mind's on a blank right now.
Well, we do have our normal cast, which we may want to introduce them, they are sitting in the rafters right now. I think they might be getting restless.
Of course, like God Emperor Gabara, also known as Deserve, I believe? Deserve?
Bingo.
Okay, good. No, your name's Bingo. Anyway, we have GrayShot151, Tyler Treeshock. We have Joe, our beloved GVZ, and our trashy verifier, Alex.
I am TK.
But no, yes, for this podcast, we have quite a few matches to discuss, and many more, and many things to discuss for the future in regards for, all the movies and things of that nature. But I guess, Kaiju X, what came out first, your KWCE or match 225?
We generally cover KWCs first, then go to the KWCE, so
Excellent counterpoint.
Let's see. So which one was the last? What did we talk about last time? Hang on, let me.
225 came out I think it was a few days after the last one. So
Yeah.
for those that don't know, we usually dive into the KWCs that released and give our opinions and whatnot. And 225 was the actual match banner created by EJ Sue and written by myself.
Mhm. So I will have to say, that's right. Yeah, it had to be 225. That's right. Or at least,
Yeah, I think that came out like the day after the podcast. It was like, so
right.
close yet so far.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 225 is a really interesting, unique, it's from a banner perspective. It's a very interesting, unique one because for the first time, we have a a well-known professional Godzilla artist on making
That's
a
not
banner.
very nice to say, Kaiju X, to all the hardworking people about the banners.
Well, I'm sorry. But like a professional Godzilla artist attached, like making a banner for the KWC, and I am really curious to know how, like, how exactly did that go down?
It was actually I'd actually been trying to get a special banner created for a match for a while now, and it essentially was I spoke to Matt Frank, and he was unavailable due to, I think he's working on multiple comics at the moment.
Mm.
And I was going down the list trying to find anyone, and it was EJ Stu actually had an opening. I was like, yes, I got him. Plus, it actually worked perfectly because it was the characters are from Godzilla Legends #4, so it kind of really worked out perfectly there.
All right.
Which, for those that don't know, he was the artist behind Godzilla Legends #4.
Yep, yeah, the Hedorah, Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla one, which, to be honest, is one of my favorites of all the IDW ones that they did. His artwork was phenomenal throughout that.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
completely
yeah,
agree.
definitely.
Yep.
Anthony, did you have, like, were there any specific, I guess when Tyler brought up the idea, were there any set sort of rules or guidelines that Tyler needed to follow, or what's the case with that?
Well, you could kind of say we set the guideline, but no. In regards for this, it was again Anthony's. I will say for Anthony is his biggest stringent is always making sure trying to bring a sense of professionalism to this, and it was like, hey, let's try to keep our range. If we are going to make something custom created, let's keep it to within artists that have actually worked on Godzilla properties. Very much how we only keep monsters that have been in Toho distributed films.
Yep, yeah, we had that. I mean, Tyler basically called me after he set this up just to see if it was, how it was going to go and if it was okay. And then, yeah, my basic contingent was I prefer the lifelike photoshops, but if we can line somebody up who's, a name like this, in this case, they've done work in comics or something, that's more than fine as an exception as well. In fact, I'm excited when stuff like this happens because it is, puts an extra spotlight, so to speak, particular ones as well, which is nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also curious, was this something that we approached them with when we already had the monsters set up, or did the monsters kind of shift so that we had Mechagodzilla to overlap versus past experience as well?
It actually kind of was just a happy coincidence because the first person I had done a year ago, I was trying to get Matt Frank. Actually, I think it was 2 years ago because this match actually I wrote a while ago, and I've been just editing and trying to update it ever since. But it was Matt Frank I was speaking to, and he got hammered, and I've messaged him, and he's like, yeah, and just bad times, man. I'm like, totally understand. And then I was like, well, why don't I just try the original? Why don't I try that guy? And he was like, totally super nice, very upfront, and yeah, he was. I reached out to him via his contact, and he seemed super down to take over the project or create it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a really great brand. I'm looking at it right now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good details, and especially the scales on Grand King Ghidorah there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
The biggest thing was when I was giving him the details. He was like, wait, which Ghidorah again? He was like, oh yeah, the Grand Ghidorah from Rebirth of Mothra 3. So I sent him an image. He was like, oh okay, gotcha. He was like, he just wanted to confirm. He's like, I think there was a few. I was like, yeah, there are.
I guess even he doesn't want to remember Rebirth of Mothra 3.
All right.
As the three films go, that's definitely my favorite of them. Not that I hold a special place in my heart for any of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch all those again. It's been a real long time.
I personally find the first one to be the best of the bunch, but at the same time, it's also not like super high standard or whatever.
Yeah.
No.
I say that in terms of the human dynamics and the whole, plot in the ground, so to speak. I agree the first one has the best one, much superior to the third one. But at the same time, in terms of the actual monsters and everything, the third one gets the edge. So for popcorn entertainment, I'll take the third to the first.
Okay.
Even though the first is kind of more competently made, I'll say that too.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, when you look at all three of the villain kaijus, they're pretty cool. They have some neat concepts, some good backstory, all that stuff.
Yep.
Even though two of them are just Ghidorahs.
Yeah, the poor middle guy got the worst film though. So.
Yeah. But they are at least distinct from each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Unlike a certain other
Ghidorahs
Ghidorah.
overlap a little bit, but.
And hey, at least that second guy, he got another film performance. He was for like a second in the new animated movie.
Yeah.
I'm in a
True.
Godzilla movie,
To
Mom.
be honest, that was my highlight of that whole film for me. Oddly enough, was just seeing him in there. But I didn't really love the anime in general. But that was definitely the part that got me the most excited. Funnily.
Yeah, I would tend to agree that the first I'd say 5 minutes were like, okay, this is some good setup. I like how they did the recap. Let's okay, it's this is gonna be a trek. This is gonna have its ups and downs. Oh, it's going down. It's really flying.
If only the anime focused on the monster apocalypse.
Yep.
Yeah, I would definitely have paid a lot more to see that over and over again versus what we got. But
Nope, you gotta read the novel. In Japanese.
Nick just saw the second one, and based on reading his comments, which I'll put up tomorrow on the site, but he wasn't too impressed with the second.
Huh.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, it's well, hey, at least we got the movie next year.
now we got the live action one. So
Yeah,
I'm
so
looking
we
forward
got
to
our
it.
King Ghidorah.
We got our Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster remake.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'm most excited to see Rodan, 'cause it's been quite a while since Final War, since we've seen him, and before that it was Mechagodzilla 2, so
Yeah.
Yeah, come to
it's been
think
overdue.
come to think of it, it's actually been a long time since we actually got a actual appearance from Rodan. I don't really count the 5-second cameo from Final Wars. That's just me, though.
Yeah.
No.
It'll be interesting to see the design specifically on those. Like, what do they incorporate and what they don't? Because I think overall, the 2014 design, while people may note of its size, people generally are like, okay, this is a good, solid design for most aspects. It'll be interesting to see how far they take each of the characters for Ghidorah, Rodan, and Mothra. And if because Rodan, I can't even imagine. Like, how would they really make him look like the original? Or would they make him more like a pterodactyl? Or more like a wyvern? Like, it'll be. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, specifically, especially the designs.
I think it's sort of like the case for 2014 in Shin, as long as it at least resembles that certain kaiju, or even kind of keeps some of their traits intact. I think people will be fine with it. You're just gonna get those occasional, oh, but it doesn't look like my original.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff like that.
Right. Like a design that's faithful, but it's also like kind of unique and unorthodox in its own way.
Yeah, it does something new with it, but it's faithful, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also with Grand Ghidorah, we also had Legion and Mechagodzilla, which was basically, I think, if you were to go with the 90s, like the three powerhouses from like the different, like the Gamera films, the Godzilla films, and the Mothra films, I would say you got the three powerhouses from those respective franchises.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to be honest, I have a soft spot for Legion. Recently rewatched the Gamera trilogy, and I don't know, for me at least, the second one felt like kind of felt like an American blockbuster. Like they nailed it from that perspective there. But I like the Legion monster, just basically, and all the stuff they did with the symbiotic or soldier legions too. But
Yeah.
I'm getting more and more nostalgic as I get older for that particular film out of the trilogy. I think it's because the CGI in the third one, the glimmer, that's starting to fade a little bit, and I don't know, I just like the way they execute everything in the second one a lot, especially the pacing there.
Huh. That's.
Yeah, I need to watch them again, but I kind of always thought the first one was my favorite out of the trilogy, from what I remember.
Yeah.
I saw that one pretty late, I think, about 97, I want to say. So like a year before the American Godzilla movie. And at the time, I'd heard a lot of amazing stuff about it. And so I remember seeing it being slightly underwhelmed. It was a good movie, but I didn't think it was phenomenal. And then shortly afterwards, I saw the second one for the first time, and that's the one that blew me away. But the whole trilogy as a whole is very, very solid. He nailed all of those.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And also in regards to an alien design for Legion, I think the Gauss was a classic Gamma monster, and while Iris is also very cool, I think Legion, how different its design is, how unique its attacks were, and how well executed. Like Biollante, it's so large. There's so many different components, and how well they're all how well they flow seamlessly. I think it also just puts together like a more like immediate threat, and like that's because for me, I think Legion was the most powerful out of all three, just because Gamera fights Iris for the span of it kind of feels like 5 minutes. While Legion, it almost looks like it's going on for hours, if not the entire night. Like this is a battle, and he's losing the entire time mostly.
From
well, Iris is
what
definitely kind of a glass cannon where he can dish out damage, you just can't take it back. And Legion was definitely, he could take it and he could also give it back. So that's what made him stand out of the three, in my opinion.
Even
from what I remember from the final fight between Gamera and Iris, someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I just remember they were trapped in like that mall or subway, and it just looks like they were just taking turns mugging each other.
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth.
All right. Yeah, the fight between Gamera and Iris was... Yeah, I think it's as Anthony said, Iris is more glass cannons. Like, because, yeah, Iris could, like, penetrate Gamera's shell with his sonic beams and the, the little spear hands with no problem, but the Iris himself could not tank the attacks. Legion, could. And it had a million tricks.
Oh, yeah.
And he also had that little shield he could drop, too. Basically blow up the fireballs in front of him, which was pretty helpful, too.
Even, I will say...
Yeah, and it really kind of also put the fact that the entire military had to combine with Gamera to even put up a threat, while Iris really never had that much of a challenge, minus like a brief forest battle.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah. And then one of the things that Tyler brought up, which I totally agree with, is that Legion was massive, and they did a really good job of not making it seem like it's dude at all. Like, it doesn't seem like there's somebody in there. You really got that impression. Whereas with, Iris, or of course the Gauts as well, you got that impression. But with Legion, it was both a alien but natural design. Like, it was an insect, so it kind of made sense. But I just really loved the way that they're able to mask the special effect part of it and just carry that part so well.
That's what I was about to say too.
But yeah, I definitely loved that character.
Yeah. The special effects too for Legion are also really incredible when you really look at it, because it's hard to believe that thing is a suit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people love Legion a lot, is because of all the hard work and effort that went into creating her.
All right, she's an incredibly complex design, and no doubt a nightmare of a suit to make. But did it really pay off in the long run? Because she is incredible. Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah. Weird. Let's head back to 225 in itself, and but yeah, in regards to the match, my main goals were essentially I wanted to make this kind of like the side story, because for 200 it was like, oh, the Heat team, but what was Mendel doing? Well, to be honest, I kind of wanted to give Mendel like his own little side story, and I figured him being accidentally taken on a mission with Mechagodzilla would be pretty much fitting for the character, always accidentally fumbling into a situation. But I also kind of wanted to repeat that Godzilla Legends #4, so having the dynamic between like Legion's beam being unable to be absorbed by Mechagodzilla, and Grand King Ghidorah, like each had an advantage over the other, and trying to balance that to an extent. That was the most entertaining, at least part for myself, for when writing this thing. But what were your guys' thoughts for 225?
Yeah, unfortunately for the KWC's, 225 was the only one I've read top to bottom. The other two I've read, but that's when I initially received them as submissions. So my memory might be fuzzy with the next two. But for 225, yeah, honestly, I really like the match. Yeah, there's great character bits. I love what you do with Mendel. Love the fact that you use the team from Godzilla Legends #4. I think it's really refreshing, really cool. The fight itself, I think, is incredibly solid. Like, this is just a really fun sort of like weird side story fight. And I absolutely, and maybe spoilers alert on this one, I love the usage of Grand King Ghidorah's mind control here. That was great. That was great. So.
Yeah, that was definitely. I was like, wait, why doesn't I could just think Grand King Ghidorah's like if it could take like teleport humans out of buildings, like okay, there's obviously humans in there. What if I just like had them, attack each other? Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Like, it's shown like in the movies that he's like somewhat intelligent. So trying to convey that, I thought was like, yeah, let's just have them attack each other from inside. It also gave me a great scapegoat of how to get Mendel actually like helping instead of just like just waking up in like a daze, like, oh, what's going on? Oh God, I'm gonna die, aren't I?
So it really helped that.
But Alex, well, actually, the one thing I will say about this is I did screw up when it came to it. I was doing final checks, and for whatever reason, I switched Solani to Salami. So, minor issue there, but...
Gray shot. Salami is my favorite character. You should feel proud of yourself.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
Alright,
does anyone have any final words for the match before we head over to 26?
Just one comment, because you mentioned that there was or at least somebody mentioned that there was the characters from Godzilla Legends 4, and again that lines up so perfectly with the artist. And you mentioned that you were kind of tinkering this match along with as it went along. Was that done with the idea that he'd be doing the art, or was that again just another happy coincidence here?
That was actually a happy coincidence. I had originally written this, and I had originally written this, and I had that crew because I tried doing the original Mechagodzilla, but there really weren't any personalities or any I couldn't really. They really didn't have anything. Whereas the comic, I think, did a better job of establishing who does what and giving each a distinct personality. So I definitely took a much bigger reference, and I even so referencing that comic as oh yeah, that was just a demo that they did and they passed. So yeah, no, that was definitely just a happy coincidence. But one I'm quite glad paid off.
Yeah, I mean, what are the odds that you happen to pick a comic and then you happen to get that artist to do the banner too?
Yeah, well, to be honest, when he said yes, I was like, oh, I'm definitely having to do 225 because it's just so perfect.
Yeah, yeah, I really love the way he draws Mechagodzilla. I've actually got the comic in front of me right now, just kind of skimming through it while we talk.
But yeah, no, it was it's a blast, and I'd love to get some more in the future. If we could get another banner for him, not for my match, but for any matches, it would be definitely awesome to do for him or other Godzilla artists, and that's something I'll be trying to do more so for the KWC. So I won't say when that'll happen because I have no idea myself, but keep an eye out because who knows.
Yeah, and just in general for me, to be honest, I enjoy the matches a lot more when the characters are familiar, I guess. So the fact that they came from the comic, and I love that comic, but also there's a lot of characters that appear from the movies that have previously been introduced to the audience. That always kind of resonates a bit more with me. I know we've done that a lot for the the Godzilla animated series crew, but just a lot of other people as well. But it's just a nice way to have somebody interested in all elements of it, like the recent one, or I honestly don't want to get too far ahead, but the recent one with the Chiro too, also connected for that reason too.
Definitely can agree there. I think this one I tried to throw not oh yes, overboard, but any character I was yeah, it would make sense, or previously established, because it's I think I've hit every side movie character. I've Godzilla the series, the Gameras. I have possibly a hint at the very end. It's another character from a dragon movie that possibly may or may not have done well financially. But yeah, no, it's I tried to throw whenever I can throw a character, I'd rather throw a character that's been used and has a history than trying to make up someone.
Yeah.
But here, with that, I think we pretty much covered 225. You guys ready to go on to 226, which Godzilla Source versus Varan?
Right. this one, okay, yeah, for Godzillasaurus Varan, I will say, the one thing I can remember distinctly and clearly, this banner was both a pain and a lot of fun to make.
Pain because of the fog and everything, or
Not because of the fog. I have Photoshop, so making fog is easy, but it's getting the right images to create the terrain when the original image I pulled it from wasn't enough. So I had to add, like, because I think I started with the background, like that was the image I pulled first, but that wasn't doing it, so I had to get more mountain pics and then like build and then add more layers to it. And then
yeah, because I can see the forest layer in the front here. Looks like there's at least kind of the mountains, the water, another layer of mountains, and then we got the trees. So
right,
just keeps going.
Right, and the biggest.
Not to mention, I think the water definitely looks like. Yeah, I know it's like splashing, but yeah, it's a nice effect to demonstrate like the lake I assume back there.
Right, yeah, that's what's supposed to be the lake. Even though I will admit, maybe the perspective might be a little weird. That could be just me. It's more like a river being overcome by a tsunami. I don't know.
You gotta watch out for Godzillasaurus's tail.
Yeah. I will say the one other biggest character that was a pain to get was not Godzillasaurus, but Varan. Getting a good back pick of him was really hard, and the one image I could find had cut off his tail. So I had to mask that with the trees.
Yeah,
nice
I actually do like how Baron is presented in the banner.
Yeah,
I agree.
Baron looks great.
Yeah, you did a good job there, man. Especially with the worst. I honestly dread any monster that has spikes because you have to just go in and individually like cut them out. It's not fun, but you did a good job for what's there.
Right, and then I think the site where. Yeah, I think whoever posted the Varan statue also, like, the site that they got it from also had the Baradagi statue. And I was like, when are we ever going to see that in a KWC banner? I don't think we are, so I just put it in there.
I think I do remember the writer requesting someone to make the banner with the statue in there.
Or was that the case? I can't remember.
Thought so, yeah. Yeah, I think Joe might be right.
Okay, yeah.
We haven't mentioned it, but yes, 226 Godzillasaurus Varan. It was written by Grayson Post, and it was the banner was created by Andrew or KaijuX here. So,
yeah, I actually remember. Keep saying you guys have to post this one. This one's actually really good. Like I was actually campaigning for it.
Yeah, it had a cool aspect in regards to like the time travel. Like they felt bad for Godzilla. They felt bad for Godzillasaurus, so they moved him to a different time. Like a different, world line essentially, like a time where whatever we want to call it. So that aspect was actually pretty neat. I liked how. And also the other thing I enjoyed was the monsters didn't like, especially toward the end. The buildup was good, but they didn't actually like. It wasn't like a fight to the end. It was more like, okay, we got it, just walking away.
Just get out of my home.
Yeah.
Get out of my swamp.
Right, which is refreshing. It's definitely refreshing to have a fight that doesn't end in a bloodbath, so.
Yeah.
Interesting take on M11 too, because it felt less. I want to say like there's that difference in terms of the way the character is toward the end of the film versus the beginning of the film, where he feels a bit more distant, and then by the end he feels much more helpful. In this one, he definitely felt more robotic, more distant. So that was kind of an interesting take on that character too. At least that's the feeling I got from reading it.
I agree.
I was kind of more focused on the Emiko in regards to how the care. It wasn't just like more of a relationship with Godzillasaurus, and then I that might have been just the writer, but I thought Emiko was like more caring nature and like actually trying to see it through and trying to save this thing was also a little bit better, and I think also kind of worked with, since she was one of the original ones to like go back and try to stop Godzilla from being born. Her kind of be like, okay, I'm not gonna like kill it, but I'm just gonna ensure it doesn't destroy itself or anyone else.
Yeah. And then she makes King Ghidorah.
But unfortunately,
Yeah.
she can't prevent him from being retired.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah. So again, as we make note, I've been slowly but surely getting these Godzilla Source matches out. As you probably noticed, I usually every other match is right now a Godzilla Source, just because he's most likely going to be retired in the next few months, and my eventual goal is to have a new Godzilla take its place.
Yes. Yes.
So. What Godzilla that may be, I don't know.
It'll be Manila.
But that is-
Hanna-Barbera.
Please be Manila.
Hanna-Barbera.
I'm kidding.
As you can see, Anthony, I have quite a few people asking for quite a few different variants. So, but no, I think
What about Showa?
we have fake Godzilla.
Hey, can we have Godzilla 90s versus Godzilla 2000?
Oh gosh,
Oh
darn.
God.
How about GMK Godzilla? We don't have a fully evil Godzilla.
Or
Again,
Wasn't there a match where they portrayed High Side Godzilla as GMK Godzilla?
yes, that was
Oh, yeah.
That was
147.
King Godzilla versus King
Godzilla
Caesar.
versus King Caesar.
Yes.
Yep. That was Joshua Reynolds match. If I yeah,
Yeah, 147.
MMs.
Joshua Reynolds. Mhm.
yeah.
That was a pretty good one.
All right. Let's see. Do we have any other additional thoughts for 226?
I kind of think the match is a little disappointing. I think it's because it's just kind of too short. It feels a little more like it's setting
Rushed.
up to something more than.
I could kind of see that. It did a good job
More
of building
than-
it up, and then the actual
Yeah.
fight seems pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, rather short.
Yeah,
I
from
thought
what the author told me, this was like the beginning to a whole series of Godzilla Source matches where he goes throughout the
poor
whole
guy.
Showa timeline. Like he fights Baragon. I think Dogra was one of the other combatants he was planning to fight, and some
That'd be
other
a-
ones.
Interesting match to see how that would work in terms
I
of
know.
him versus.
Yeah. Agreed.
Now, match might be in quotations. It's probably going to be like I can just imagine it's like Gals versus Biolante, as in it ends up with a skeleton in the end.
I think.
No, wait,
think the-
Emiko runs up to Godzilla Source, injects him with bee and wasp venom, and then Godzilla Source bites it.
That's,
Pretty creative, actually.
Yeah, that'd certainly be an interesting idea.
Yep.
And then shortly after Dagor dies, Godzilla Source has an allergic reaction. and then she
Aw.
has to drop the nuke on Godzilla Source to save him.
Winner, Godzilla SI. That's the two. It's like, what?
Yeah, right.
That would be a great joke match, though, if that plot happened.
That would.
Yeah, I can't think of any match that would have someone just randomly come out of nowhere with the answer, win the match and then just get the victory all of its own
Right, Ultraman?
with very little build up.
It's like she's so hell-bent on preventing Godzilla from happening that she loves Godzilla Source so much that she actually causes Godzilla to happen.
That's funny. That's funny.
Well, here, if no one has anything left with 226, why don't we hit the final match of the month, which was 227 by Connor Clennell and banner by myself, actually.
Yeah, sure thing. If it's alright, if I can
This
comment.
one.
Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I was just gonna say this one I really liked, just because it felt like it took something that sounded pretty real, like the kid getting traumatized by it, and really took it not only a believable direction, but something that was like original. Like I hadn't heard of somebody having the idea of Ichiro having nightmares or something after his experiences, and then having to grow from that as well. But again, also it brings the idea of expanding on reoccurring characters or characters people are familiar with, and really anchoring the story in that. And so this one, to be honest, I really liked. Just thought it was really well done.
Yeah, and for Ultraman versus Gabara, this is last year there was a match Monster X versus Iris, and that was kind of like one of my personal favorites of the year, just because it took two monsters that were very different, and yet it shared them a unique story. And comically enough, I made the banner for that one too. But that is kind of like this year's match for me. Is it told an interesting story with two characters you wouldn't really think connect, but really Ichiro, I can't believe I'm saying this, was a good character through and through, and actually was a good anchor for both monsters to be referenced using, and then how they actually interact and the use of the nightmares. Again, I think this was a fantastic match.
Yeah, very original concept for it. It linked up with the film very well, or the film in this case.
I have to say, I really enjoyed Nightmare on Elm Street 10.
Dang it! Now I have to read this match. Sit down and actually read it because that sounds super good. But
it's actually really good. I really enjoyed the story, and like Grayshot said, Jichiro is actually a good character for once.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave it
does a good job anchoring the whole thing.
Right, leave it to Birdman to write a really compelling narrative with a character that I think is, I unfortunately universally hated in the Godzilla community. So, but I will say this though.
Hey,
oh, go ahead.
I loved Godzilla's Revenge, so it's not universally hated.
Well,
My opinion counts more than yours.
Well, I mean,
so everyone but Durser hates it.
Well, I mean, I don't hate Godzilla's Revenge either. Actually, a majority. Let's just put it at that. Majority.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but I don't think we should get rid of it just because it's a good entry point for younger fans.
To be honest, I liked it. I thought it was like I thought it was like Godzilla. Again, I was really young when I saw that movie, but I was like, oh my god, they did Home Alone and Godzilla.
They did Home Alone.
Which obviously came out far before him. But I was like, I love the similar elements, which is this kid trying to outwit two inept criminals.
For me as a kid, I remember seeing commercials for this one and being pretty confused at the time because I already seen Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, aka Eberhor of the Deep, and also Son of Godzilla, and they were playing mostly stock footage from those battles to promote it. So I had no idea it was an original movie. I thought it was just something they slapped a different title on. And so I remember seeing it and being, to be honest, pretty. I mean, I don't really love the film at all, mainly because I love Son of Godzilla. And as a kid, I loved that movie and ground that VHS to death. So by the time I saw this, it felt kind of like an afterthought. So as a kid, I thought that, even though I know it's pitched that way as being a great intro, I think there's better ones to kind of, get kids' interest.
Yeah.
Of course.
Son of Godzilla is one of the ones I would pick. I think that's just a much more superior film.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think Son of Godzilla and Godzilla versus Gigan and maybe Mechagodzilla would be
Megalon would be a good one
to show your kids.
I don't know about that. But for me as a kid, Godzilla versus Gigan was the one that made me become a fan. I'd seen King Kong versus Godzilla was the first one I'd seen, followed by The Return of Godzilla, aka Godzilla 1985. But I didn't become a fan until I saw Godzilla versus Gigan. For me, it was like all the monsters they'd briefly shown on Monster Island. The idea that there was so much more to this universe that kind of drew me in.
Oh
So
yeah,
I agree with
definitely.
that one being a good one to get the kids in because it's also a lot of fighting in that movie too. So that always helps keep the interest.
Also, we can agree that
also be a good one too. The 74 one.
we could all agree that Shin Godzilla is a good one to show, right? Because we definitely need to get government into kids' lives early on.
Get those kids into politics.
And the blank, expressionless characters are something the kids will love.
Guys, now there's nothing better to a child's heart than board meetings. All the board meetings.
Yep, just white walls and brown tables and everyone having the same expression.
Even Shin.
and cultural differences with how the Japanese government works.
Oh man, the kids are gonna be glued to that one.
But no, it's been. I think the. Oh, sorry. Continue, Kaiju.
I was about to finally say. I will say for the banner for 227, really good. I really love the banner for this. It's simple, but it brings an atmosphere. Like the rain's added to fantastic effect. Ultraman looks really good. Gabra looks really good. Like, honestly, this is actually, for as simple as it is, this is a really atmospheric banner. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Gabra in particular. I don't know, something about the angles of the backs, but those one kind of stand out, although it's hard to get back shots, so to speak, but it's an interesting dynamic to have somebody, you as the audience sitting behind a character, seeing them march towards somebody else like this one's doing. And in the context of the story and having him shrouded a bit in the dark there, it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole goal was to make Gabara, which is very... I couldn't do a front shot. There was no way I could make Gabara imposing from a front shot. So my goal was like, I wanted to make him a large looming threat and make Ultraman relatively small. I wanted to make him, again, like I really wanted to capture the this looming monster, this giant green ogre, which most of us take as a joke, but really make him dark, really make him gigantic, make him so that the banner can't even like completely encompass his size, marching towards this small, the color is basically drained from him. He's basically overcome by this the nightmare around him, which is I do agree. It was simple, but I'm glad how it turned out.
Yeah.
Good job.
Isn't Gabra a toad now from that one game?
Oh, yeah, true.
I think he was always, like, canonically a toad. We just didn't get the information till way later.
Is he a toad?
Even though an ogre makes more sense.
Yeah.
Or is he both? A toger.
A toger?
Or was his name Cousin Larry?
Oh, jeez.
But no, otherwise, this was a fantastic way for Ultraman to come back because he's hadn't had a real match in a while.
Yeah, I don't think it was since Ultraman versus Rodan.
That was...
Yeah,
183.
That's the last one he was in?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that sounds. Yep. Yeah, and also for I don't know what is for Gabra. There's been a string of his matches. Like he's fought Monster X. He's fought. He went up against Hedorah. So I did like how this didn't make him completely overpowered. Like it was like okay, it's kind of understandable and how they used him to like combat Ultraman, which was he just slugging him and or actually the electricity beat was actually also pretty cool.
Yeah.
We'll say for this match.
I will say, though, I haven't read all of the match. What I have read, Gabara is portrayed really well so far, and
Yep.
even though he killed Hedorah and Monster X, this is the first time that he feels threatening in a match.
Well, you were kind of rooting for him when he was fighting Hedorah too, so it's a bit of a different perspective. Whereas here, he's definitely
True.
the antagonist.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Right, Gabara was like the lesser of two evils in the Monster X match. He was like kind of like the hero-ish for the Hedorah match, but here he is like the villain, like the villain. So
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's definitely a...
Yeah, and honestly, out of the recent matches, like even from I will say, like in recent matches, he was done again. I do agree, his execution was well done. I also say also Ultraman, how he's incorporated, especially with Ichiro, felt kind of natural, and it totally it totally worked in regards to like having him connect to the kid character, and especially I won't spoil it for those who haven't read it in here, but the ending especially I thought was a very clever touch for. If not, I mean, kind of you could see it, but I thought it was a nice little touch.
Are we not supposed to spoil on these podcasts? Because I feel like we've kind of tried that, but to be honest...
Oh,
yeah,
no, I just
the-
didn't do it. I just didn't do it for Kaiju X because they haven't. This is the one they haven't said, but I mean, we can if we want. I don't,
Right. Like, I think I did
Nice.
say spoilers for 225, so...
oh, that's true.
Because I did like the fact that it made sense that he'd seen the show, would have been out at that time, and so him getting the action figure and everything just it was a really good plot device there. It worked really well.
All right.
Well, does anyone have any final notes for 227?
This may just be me, but the last indentation right before it shows the winner, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's just me. I don't think it really kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, lines up with the second to last indentation. Like, he didn't even realize that his window was open. Like, for some reason, that just doesn't really translate well from the other paragraph, what I'm trying to say. Again, I'm pretty sure it's just me. Like, I'm pretty sure whoever has read it didn't have a problem with it. I don't know, it's just one of those things I can't explain. It just felt a little off.
I was curious what that was implying. Was it just... I'm assuming it was trying to allude like it wasn't all just a dream, even though I don't see how that could work in the context of the story, but yeah, I was kind of curious what that was.
Can't Ultraman, like, change his size or something? Or maybe I'm thinking of Ultra 7.
Ultra 7 can change its
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was thinking maybe they were alluding to maybe that was like the spirit of Ultraman, maybe. But that's just it's didn't. That's the one thing I was kind of curious because like I know I've been doing a match with Ultra 7. I know he can shrink down, but I didn't know if the Ultraman could. But I assumed it was kind of like the same thing, which was maybe he was like a spear. It was a nice touch, but I think it should have deserved a little bit more like of a backstory or more hints early on.
Oh, all ultras can change sizes. Oh.
Oh, they can?
Yeah. I just don't know if that was Yeah, some just demonstrate the power more than others. So that's what I'm reading from Birdman, who's posting in the chat right now.
Okay then. So apparently Ultraman, the original Ant-Man. Fun fact.
Do we have any
I
other?
want to get technical. I think Ant-Man might predate him, but
Oh yeah, I think.
No.
Because. But yeah, does anyone else in here have any thoughts for 227 before we move on to the KWCEs for the month?
Other than that small gripe, I actually really enjoyed it.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Oh, and you were right. He Ant-Man, 1962. Ultraman came out what, like 67?
66.
66, I want to say, just off the top of my head, but I may be wrong there.
Yeah, it's 66.
Okay, so
I gotta.
sorry, I apologize. Ant-Man is the original Ultraman. Let me get that straight.
I have 66 for Ultraman, so yeah, about 4 years. So
When I'm done, half of the KWC will be gone.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Well, that's very
Meets the
different.
original Ultraman. Before I wipe them out, I hope they remember you.
Okay, anyway, I guess we can move on to the KWCEs now.
Yep.
Yeah, we can head over them.
All right, Anthony, I'm not sure if you're aware of what the KWCE.
I already know what Gray Shot's gonna say. I didn't read them.
I actually read Minya vs. Sudaku.
I wonder why.
I read one of them.
Right. Yeah, Minya vs. Sudaku, the shortest KWCE to date. But yeah, if
That was the one I read.
yeah, Anthony, in case you don't know, the KWCE is like a Toho Kingdom form, like a sub form for the KWC, where it's just kind of like we kind of take the principles of the KWC, except it's like we kind of like it's basically the place where it's like, oh, can't use Alien Bolton Zeton, use him here, or it's basically room for more monsters that wouldn't be allowed the KWC otherwise. So
gotcha.
So it's something.
And it's essentially exclusive to the forum. So you can check out the matches there. So it's a nice way for those that do manage the forum. Like I do laugh when I see, oh man, wait, there's a new KWC. It's like there is a main site to this forum. Did you not know? But those that just frequent the forum, they have their own version, and it is a little bit expanded.
Right.
But yeah, no, I read this match. I actually thought you would put my match in somehow, because years and years and years ago, the first match I ever wrote was Minya vs. Udaku vs. Titanosaurus, and Rise of the Red Bamboo,
Red
Oh,
Bamboo.
yeah.
Bamboo. And I was like, oh god, did he actually post that? Did he think that was a legit match? Like,
Red Rainbow.
Red Bamboo.
Red Rambo. Red Rambo.
But yeah,
uh,
first let me detail a little bit of history with this one, because things were meant to be played differently, but the response seemed more akin to, why do this when you could do this? And it's a little crazy. So when I posted KWCE match number 19, Manila Showa versus Udaku, it started off as Manila versus Giant Octopus from, I think, the Mega Shark movies. Because that was the only Giant Octopus card that I had lying around. It was like, okay, the title of this is just Manila versus Giant Octopus. Not much of a problem. I read the match, they say Udaku, and I'm like, uh-oh. It's like, great, now I'm stuck. Because I know if I post it as Giant Octopus, but not change it to Udaku, then it's like, great. That's an issue. But if I change it to Giant Octopus, it'd just be like, great, I'm changing the original narrative from what it wasn't meant to be. So I posted it initially just to see what the response was. It turned out to be what I expected it to be, and then it was just like, screw it, Udaku's getting his own card, and I added him in. Plus, the sad part is, realistically speaking, I think Udaku is going to get more matches than the Giant Octopus ever will.
yeah, I mean, if you just fuse all the characters together, if you have the giant, basically, it's the idea of, yes, the Giant Octopus first fought Kong, got mad, so it went on a workout binge, grew far larger, then fought Frankenstein, and then fought his son, and then, now it showed up here.
And then decided that the only way Udaku could possibly win is to beat up a small child.
Yes. Yeah, I was thinking about changing it to Winner Manila, but the original did straight up say draw Manila Udaku, and I'm like, okay, that's a weird fight. Like, it was clearly Manila that shot the atomic ray that drove him off, so it's like, why is it? I was like, I wasn't gonna change it because I don't like changing the kind of like winner loser draw thing. I generally don't like changing that. Generally, maybe I should have. Oh well. More initiative for next time. But anyway, for those that read the match, what'd you think of it?
Well,
Thought it was a lot better than my Minion versus Udaku match.
I liked it. I thought it was funny because it's two fairly weak monsters fighting each other, and I like how Manila was portrayed in here. It's fairly accurate to the movies. He's portrayed as a child.
Yeah, basically being pushed back, but then finding courage at points to fight back and do something.
Yeah. Overall, I thought it was good. A little too short, but I don't think there would be much else to do with both monsters.
Yeah, unless you were to pull have it go pure horror and start the two ripping each other apart, which would be that doesn't really fit the characters.
Unless you say, and then Titanosaurus suddenly showed up.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would fit Manila.
What? Or what if the red Rambo showed up?
The Red Rambo, dang it.
Well, that would
Well,
make
comically
sense.
enough, well, again, I say this match is better because it actually keeps in line with the monsters. That one, again, I wrote it many, many years ago. And I think it was in like junior high, and that match ended with like Udaku becoming like super massive and super armored, and Titanosaurus like actually fighting him, and then Minya turning into Junior. It was, yeah, it wasn't good, but
So much
it was.
I forget, did Manila kill Odaku with some of his bananas he had from Godzilla's Revenge?
No, let's not get too crazy. He beat him with a nuclear pulse. Let's because he obviously used that ability.
I now want to see a KWCE where Manila wins just by throwing a banana into a monster's mouth and making them choke on it.
My goodness. All right.
Otherwise,
I will-
solid tooth and claw
I will-
match, and it kind of went the way I kind of expected because like one can breathe fire, and one, well, can constrict. Really has no deflection of said fire. So I kind of expected Minya to at least, if not the draw, the win.
Right. So.
I will say two things I'm slightly disappointed about in this match. For one, it doesn't count for Manila winning somehow, and there is no banner for it. I think it would make I think this would make for a funny banner.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody make one. Anyway.
Just seeing Manila fighting the giant octopus.
It turns out at the end Manila is just playing in the bathtub with his octopus toy.
Just imagine this
there's-
grand epic battle, and it's just like, no, it's just all imaginary.
But yeah, there's
Just like
not a whole lot I
everyone-
could say about this one. It's just a solid fight between two weak monsters.
Yeah, actually, well, my last note, it kind of reminded me because I know we had for the forum. I'm not sure if you noticed this, Anthony, but there was like a battle in regards to there were two of them at the same time. It was weakest monster of the Showa, and then it was also
I think it
weakest.
was called the War of the
Weaklings.
I think.
Yeah, War of the
It-
Weaklings.
It wasn't really strictly Showa because Rose Biolante was there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Rose Biolante slaughtered. But I think Minya and Udaku, I think they fought, if I recall correctly, in that thing. So seeing
They
it
were
here
like
is
at the
also kind
very
of.
bottom.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. But I think that with I think it's kind of a nice reflection in regards to that. It's almost, I immediately thought of that after my match. I was like, it's like the War of the Weaklings.
Yeah. Before reading that, I thought it might have been inspired by that whole thing.
Alright. But with that said, anything else for number 19 before we hop on to the most recent one, number 20?
Nada.
Alright. Let's move on to, I already have the link posted in the chat. KWC number 20 is King Ghidorah Showa versus Rancor from Star Wars. Set on Tatooine. I will say, I really love this match. Like, this one I think is a really cool, unique match. To my understanding, this is a setup to what's essentially King Ghidorah versus the Empire. So that should be a really interesting series of matches, with the first opponent being the Rancor. And yeah, honestly, I think it does a great job at highlighting the two. Rancor doesn't have much in terms of powers, but it does what it can. Heck, even the bit where the Sarlacc pit gets involved is like, whoa, that's really cool. So yeah, I think this is honestly probably one of my favorite matches so far. Really curious to see where this storyline goes. I'm really curious. Also, purposefully posted on May the 4th.
Yeah,
True.
admittedly, I was a bit apprehensive about this match, but when I read it, it turned out to be really good. Like, I loved the fight between King Ghidorah and the Rancor. Hell, even the Sarlacc pit was great. And hell, I actually do like the beginning a lot, where Jabba is trying to evacuate everyone. He's not like this cruel, like, gang leader. He actually evacuates his own people.
Mhm.
and has the Rancor buying some time.
Wait, real quick, whoever's the chips, you're coming through, so just heads up, please mute your mic. But on the second note, I have not read this yet, but I'm glad you guys are saying that because immediately I just think those two, and I'm like, King Ghidorah takes a step forward and the match ends. But then scale, I then just think King Ghidorah just stays airborne and just rains death from above. But I'm glad to hear that the writer was able to convey like the actual like these two monsters were close in that regard.
Mhm.
Like it was an entertaining brawl through and through.
Oh, right. Yeah, definitely. There was a definitely nice bit of physical confronting going on. And like I said, just a very nice bit with the Sarlacc pit. Really nice bit.
Yeah, it's short, but it works out really well.
Mm-hmm. So.
Duly noted. Yes,
I have
Oh, wait,
to agree
what?
with Great Shot, but like initially, whenever like if I was gonna do a Star Wars and Godzilla match, I was kind of just thinking King Ghidorah versus the Zillo Beast on Coruscant. There you go. That match practically writes itself, in my opinion.
That match probably will write itself when Harley gets around to it.
I mean, that could technically happen if Harley does follow Star Wars canon, because I believe at the end of that episode, Palpatine says, "Oh, we should study it some more and possibly even clone the Zillo Beast." So that could still happen if she does follow Star Wars canon.
Mhm. Even if she doesn't, it's like it'll still be an entertaining match once you get there.
Yeah. I will also say I'm a bit apprehensive with the Death Star idea on how the monsters could actually fight on the surface of the Death Star. It just seems a bit weird to me that, yeah, it's still the size of the moon, but I don't know, I just have a feeling that the Death Star would just cave in on it if they stand on it too long.
Mhm.
Then again, that's just me. I'm pretty sure she'll do a good job with that match.
Right. Yeah, this Star Wars story arc is one I'm really excited to see unfold, so.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to say the least after this match.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, glad it's a worthwhile audition for the KWC, man. Yeah, it's on my list of to read. It's on my to read list. And then in that case,
Right. So, with that said, hoping to have another KWCE up, like maybe like later this week. Really hoping to, because I like to keep KWCEs regulated to like 2 a month, 1 a month. I already have them all planned out for the rest of the year, so it's like woohoo.
honestly, yeah, you should. And in regards to KWCE, if you guys are for those listening, and depending on when this comes out, you probably will see the next one as soon as I get back because I am currently not in my home, not in my home state, but where all the KWCs are stored. You'll probably see them in the next week and a half, but definitely before the end of May. So keep an eye out for that one.
Hooray!
Yeah.
I think that roughly about covers all the KWCs and KWCEs we've had for the month. I had a question for Anthony. Now I can't remember what it was. Dang it.
Wait, what?
Well, here, actually, I will say this. So, since Anthony, this is the first time you've been on the KWCC, minus the fact when you were the final boss I guess you beat the final boss in the April Fool's Day match. What are some of the matches that you've had to highlight in over like the past few years? Like, what are some of the ones that you like enjoyed more, or like go back to, or anything of that nature?
That's what it was. All right, I'll wait for mine.
To be honest, I have like a morbid curiosity with the old Baggin one. I was trying to remember what number that was. It was
50?
100?
Was it like 50 or 51 or something like that?
I think it was 51. So yeah, I'm just reading it right now because 50 was versus Monster X. 51 was Baggin. And that one I kind of have a morbid curiosity with, is I'm not huge on like gore and stuff like that, or like big into seeing like characters I like slaughtered in this case. But I don't know, something about that one. I do revisit that one pretty often. Skimming through the list here to see another one that I liked as well. Another early one I think was the first time they really used the Jet Jaguar's ability to grow big and small. I'm trying to remember which match that was. And it was just
25?
Ultraman with his partner, though.
25?
No, Ultraman. He's talking about Ultraman and Jet Jaguar versus Monster X when I think he grew inside that.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, match
That's the
25.
one. Yeah, because that was the first one where that technique was used effectively, I thought, and so that one stood out as well. But I realized I'm picking on older matches, so let me pick of a newer one. And I seem to be picking more on Thomas's as well that I'm thinking, though. But I did also like his one where Orga was kind of a stand-in for the Thing as well. Match that was.
Yeah,
that
it's not 33. It's like
that
120 something.
Yeah, 120 something. It was like Kiryu and Zilla versus Orga, I think, or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, that was also another one that stands out in memory a lot. I'm trying to think of something more recent. It's hard to pick on one of Tyler's because they all kind of flow from one to the other, I guess would be the way to say it. I'm trying to remember the one that had Guru's last.
Oh, 164. Oh no!
Oh gosh!
That one I like a lot as well too. That one's a long one. To be honest, it even took me a while to put that one just in the site's format because it was so long. Just I had to go through it was longer than the copy and paste would allow, so I had to chunk it up into pieces.
Wow!
That's another one that I love as well.
Holy crap, that's crazy.
I feel bad for 200 then because that was even longer. So
yeah, but by that time I was used to it. Like this was the first one that I encountered that for, and so that one when I saw it, I was like, okay, it's gonna freeze if I try to put the whole thing in, so I'm just gonna ahead of time break it up into smaller segments, load it that way.
Oh, that's crazy. I actually never thought about that.
So what we're all saying is we need to stop Greyshot from writing long matches ever again. Got it.
Greyshot, you're on a one-word limit.
darn it.
Every match you have must be one word short of the longest match.
I think I can do. Honestly, 200 was kind of like a culmination thing, so I don't think I'll be writing anything that long for a long while. But yeah, no.
Not until 300.
Oh yeah, if I do 300, honestly, I'm currently Kaiju X. I do admire the fact that you've got that far ahead. It's just like usually for me, it's like whenever it comes to like a 5 or 10 match, because usually we try to do something special. It's more like, okay, what do I have in the next month and a half that could possibly come up? And it was like I think 185 was like the best timing ever because Joshua was just like, yeah, he just wrote a match, and I just saw it was like perfect. This lines up so well.
Right. Yeah, it was like super perfect. Mm-hmm. And then he had 190 for the new year and whatnot. And
oh yeah.
Yep.
Written by me and Harley. Hooray!
Yeah, it's just those.
One more thing I want to give kudos to, although I know it's ancient at this time, but I do love the themes. It's like when it dovetails into, like, for example, matches on Muto or matches on, Mechagodzilla Showa. And in particular, I loved all the Mechagodzilla Showa one because it was taking a very similar concept of Godzilla being disguised and seeing how different writers kind of approached it. I really loved all of those matches for that reason. Seeing how each one tackled that aspect.
Yeah, actually, Andrew, you were the one that kicked that off with the
Bebular.
what was it? Yeah.
Oh, right, match 170.
Yeah, 170. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved all of those. Especially, I don't know if I'd say that one was my favorite, but I definitely loved all of them. That one, I think that was the one that had the different banners, wasn't it? Or am I remembering wrong?
Yeah, that was the one that had two different banners because we set it up as, oh hey, we got Showa Godzilla in the KWC, not kind of.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was a good bait and switch.
That was a well done one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we usually I do like when it comes to those matches. I'm kind of happy that Andrew was like when we do like the Muttober or that it's Andrew's done a good job in regards to writing like coming up with these crazy ideas for like matches like 211. It's just like yes, let's have the Mutos in there, and why I did help. It was just like let's have the Mutos in there. What if we had Shin Orga? What if we had like it was like. Oh god, these are a lot of crazy ideas, but dang, it works in the end.
All right, let's bring back Mechanicon because he actually hasn't been introduced. Some debatably say this is the first Mechanicon match.
Well, that is true because in that other match, there was only Prometheus.
Yep.
Again, this
So-
is why in the KWC FAQ you look. It says Tom is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
So, if the one from if the Mechanicon from 133 was Prometheus, would the one from 211 be Covenant?
Thing blasted. But yeah, honestly, yeah. 211 took a while. I remember. I think we started. I think we brainstormed and outlined that one back in March of that year, and really, I think we really started pushing writing the match in September and October.
Yeah, it was. We'd come out with the outline a while, and we'd come up with, because I also had told Jackson a while back, hey, this is the idea, and every time we came up with a change, hey man, can you just do this or that or this real quick?
Right.
But luckily, you had made you actually made the models for that Shinorga hybrid, so it was passing that over to Jackson and be like, hey man, listen, I'm gonna save you some time. Here's what you can use. Pick any of the bunch, and yeah, he chose the. I think it was the normal Shinorga design. It wasn't the one where he was. I don't think it was the purple one. I think it was the red one.
Yeah, the red one. He used the red one.
Yeah, there's he used that one, and yeah, it was in Vladivostok of all places. Which again, that one was also okay, where are we gonna set this? Because it was always gonna be Russia, but it's well, Russia's got a lot of ports. Which one? Which one are you gonna use this for?
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. I think in my initial version, I think it was North Pole, I think. But then I think you brought in Vladivostok.
Yeah, because we were trying to think of okay, well, because we wanted Godzilla Legendary to be thrown in here. And we're well, that's a hell of a swim for Godzilla Legendary to go all the way around, go around South America, or all the way around India and Africa. Come up, go through the Baltic Sea, and then show up. It's what if we just made it a little easier for that poor monster and just put it on the port closest to Japan?
That's right. Yeah, because I think we had a different it was still Russian, but I think we had a different location in mind before we switched it to Vladivostok.
Yeah, that was just again for also time, just for closing the distance, making it a lot easier because it's we need these monsters. We need these monsters to get here in a decent amount of time. And while I do agree the UFO is fast, having Godzilla swim faster around the world is maybe not so much logical sense.
Right. I think one of the funniest things I remember is that we were building. We were almost done, and then at the last second we realized, crap, where did the UFO go?
Oh, right, yeah.
So
that was our almost big blunder.
All right, so Tyler just...
We wrote the whole thing, and we were just oh crap, we haven't it just disappears. It's yeah, we need to get rid of this thing fast.
Right. So I think Tyler just wrote a really quick bit where the male Muto just destroys the UFO, just really quick in passing. So that way it's we covered it.
Yeah, we didn't have our salami of the match, so huzzah.
Well,
But yeah, actually, in regards to if those are your matches, what about the banners, Anthony? Which ones that were yes, which one were yeah, that's neat, or wow, I can't believe that one was made in paint.
I like 164 both the match and the banner. There's a lot happening in that banner, and I think it works pretty well. So picking on, it's not. I'm trying to remember. There's one of the Black Moth ones that I really like, just because it was an Orthodox. Let me try to find that one quick.
Oh yeah, the black.
Oh yeah, that was Black Moth versus Maguma.
Yep. That one I liked a lot too, just because it was, kind of an Orthodox choices. Magma looks really good as well, and then you've got the bats just for flavor in the background too.
Yeah,
so I liked a lot too.
Definitely an old 60s style with that. Which again, Jackson is the cauldron of black magic he uses to make these banners is impressive. Which I should note, guys, he is not if you haven't seen him around, he's not dead. He took a short hiatus due to classes, but you should be seeing his banners in the next few months.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
All right, I was wondering where he disappeared.
Something recent. let's see here. I did like 213's banner as well. Although it does have kind of a more postery vibe to it in the way the characters are looking kind of at the audience, but like the dynamic aspect of Megalon attacking. I'm noticing quickly that I'm a sucker for seeing the back of somebody and then other ones marching toward them. So that one has that dynamic in it too.
I can see
Which one was 213?
Mothra, Amanda versus Megalon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was Christian's match. That was really good.
That was a really good one from Christian. I think that's easily one of his best, if you ask me.
Which one?
Yeah,
213?
Yeah. Remember,
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the the Godzilla versus the Gore. It's very much a movie-esque poster.
Oh right. Yeah, it's the one where Seatopia, Mu, and the Shobijin all gathered
Oh,
together.
yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably one of his best ones.
Did Christian do that one, or did Landon do it?
Landon made
was
the
the banner artist.
Yeah, Landon made the banner.
Oh, I thought Christian made the banner. Oh.
No. Banner was by Landon.
Whoops.
Soto, or Ultimate Ditto, I believe. So.
Yeah, in regards to giving a shout out, there's a banner coming up by Ultimate made on the forums. It was like a little competition. Yeah, he
Oh, boy.
I think he found that Black Magic Cauldron as well, because it's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
I remember. Yeah.
Oh,
I also thought
he
Soul
knocked
did
it
a
out
good.
of the park.
Yeah, I also thought Soul Godzilla did a good job with the banner.
Yeah, I really like the Nagodas too.
Yeah, they were all good.
Oh yeah, there were. Really
Oh, yeah.
Good,
Oh yeah,
contenders
each
for
one
that.
was unique.
Mhm.
Oh, which actually,
Soul
for Anthony,
Godzilla-
or for those that don't know, we hosted usually every so often I say, hey, we've got this banner with this idea, this is the setting, and it's like a little competition, and usually the forum is unanimous a vote, and I usually go with that. I might approve or disapprove on a few, but I'm like, let's find out, let's go with this and have this little competition. And yeah, Nagoda was in it, Ultimate Ditto, and we had a lot of good entries, but actually,
I
if
think Birdman submitted one.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think there was 4 altogether.
Oh right.
Yep.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there were 4.
Yeah, but no, it's I wish I could post the picture in the Discord, but no, yeah, all of them were awesome in their own respect. But yeah, no, it's I think he's found that Black Magic Cauldron from Jackson as well, because the colors for that, because it was Mega Gears, Mecha King Ghidorah, and Mothra Leo all traveling through time, and it was pretty good.
It just looks fantastic. I think he's almost at Jackson Moore's level of banner artist.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, he is. Ultimate Ditto could be the Toyotaro to Jackson's Akira Toriyama. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
We will allow this. And hey, it's beneficial to everyone for the KWC, because better banners, better, nothing wrong with that. But actually, I guess the last thing, Anthony, that for questions wise is, so we've had a lot of additions to the KWC. Some of them strange, like Maguma, and some of them more requested, like Showa Godzilla or the Mutos. But are there any monster that you are currently waiting to see, or that you would like to see added in the near future?
Who's not already in, you mean?
Yeah, that is not already in.
Showa Godzilla.
Fire Heroes.
I'm trying to think of somebody. I don't mean.
I heard Anthony said Spider Heroes.
Oh no. I mean, I guess the Armor Titan is the only one I can think of because he's not represented yet. But,
Oh, okay.
I mean, even that's not like a major one. That's just something that's coming off the top of my head here, not already represented. But that's mostly because I find him to be the most interesting of all of the Attack on Titans, I guess.
Huh.
Although I don't love those 2 films, but
Right.
of those ones, he's the only one who's kind of missing so far, I guess.
Right.
Yeah,
so just
it's kind of
filling
for
up the
those-
trio.
it's kind of like their gargantuous. It's part of a set.
Yeah,
But
like the
I will also make note for those matches in particular. I've seen a few trickle in, and I am completely fine for those that are like, let's give them a little bit more. Like you can use the models and whatnot, but if I'm not the biggest proponent of like, yeah, these guys have no character. If you want to use the like a little bit of a flavor of the anime in regards to the fighting style or in regards to the actual character development, I'm totally fine with that because it's just like designs, meh. You know, we can use them, but yeah, there's no character to those movies.
Yeah, I'm unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah, I think Neil.
Well, yeah, I think.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Did I cut out there? Hello?
Yeah.
Nope. Hey. Oh, I think everyone
Okay.
cut out there for a brief second.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, of the three, I preferred the armored, I guess. And he's the only one missing, so I mean, I had to choose somebody. But otherwise, I think there's a really good roster. I was initially resistant to like multiple forms of a single character besides Godzilla being the exception, but in retrospect, for example, really happy that Mechagodzilla, Showa, and Hezai are in there as well. So yeah, I guess, I mean, if I had to pick somebody, I'd pick him, but not a huge fan of that franchise to begin with.
Makes sense. And yeah, honestly, we are starting to get to the point where it's like, yeah, there's excluding like maybe the whatever original monster, the legendary pictures, or maybe if there is a Godzilla movie in the future and they come up with original design, we are starting to hit a point where we do have a good roster and a good selection. But there was an interesting point of especially with the use of the trilopods and like the 3D model aspect of bringing like the Godzilla series. And the ones I could think of immediately of that would be like King Cobra. Like I think there was a poll and the top two were King. Correct me if I'm wrong. King Cobra and was the Crackler? I think.
I think it was King Cobra and hang on a second. Let me see.
I think it was the giant scorpion.
Right. Seigo or something like that.
Yeah, Tisego and King Cobra.
I heard it was two dead kaiju.
But no, those if I had like infinite resources and like I could do a 3D model, those would be like, that'd be kind of neat to bring in. Like having because I think Mando, while he's a cool serpent, I think King Cobra could actually go in like brawl. And then we definitely don't have a scorpion like monster, so having like Seigo and how it's like pretty impenetrable armor and the couldn't shoot acid. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, Tesego could shoot acid, which ate away at like the armor of a monster, and you could also possibly do an interesting like hallucination themed match where you could use the other form of Tesego where it had a more humanoid skull and whatnot. So.
I'm just picturing like I'm now just picturing like the Crackler versus Gabber for whatever reason, just like in someone's dream, and they're just like,
oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, a lot of interesting monsters, but yeah, it's just again my biggest proponent is always let's keep it unique, the monster design, and let's not. Yeah, I kind of do agree with you, Anthony, in regards to never oversaturate, and that's kind of like why I'm taking out Godzillasaurus. Kind of we have this. The rule would be like no proto monsters, which is why you probably won't see Biollante Rose or Mothra Larva in the future. But Godzillasaurus, the more I looked at him, was kind of like fit that role. And since we have so many different dinosaurs that cover so many different aspects, it was like I just couldn't see him. For the long term, I don't think I just couldn't see him like staying toe-to with like Destroya or like those kinds of monsters. Like I think he was just kind of thrown into a battle or a ring he never really should have fought, and he is kind of the proto monster of Godzilla. So
Great shot, you just simply don't understand. Emiko could just run up to Godzillasaurus and inject him with something. And that's how he'll defeat the stronger monsters.
It could be steroids.
Yeah, he'll just kill Destroy by being injected with something cold.
Yeah, right. Oh, goodness.
Inject him with the Oxygen Destroyer and he gets Destroyer powers.
And then Godzillasaurus will get a cold and Emiko will have to take care of him by getting him Sprite in Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
I'm not sure what I'm more worried about. The fact, oh god, I just like the idea that you inject the Emiko injects micro oxygen, the oxygen destroyer into Godzilla's like, yes, what could possibly go wrong? This is definitely give and the monster just dies. It's like, right, that's what it does.
And that's how we get Kiryu.
Oh lordy. You guys are too much, but
No, wait, his bones disappear and Emiko goes, oh shit, this isn't the Godzilla gets Mechagodzilla type, like, serum.
Time travel, you finicky mistress. Anyway. Yeah, that's right.
But yeah. Otherwise, I have received a few notices. Like I get emails sometimes, and those that I have been one. This one guy asked the question like, "So are the Rampage monsters able to get?" I'm just like, no, no.
I'm sorry, son. No.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Rampage trios for the KWC, we can't split them up because we gotta keep that precious space.
Yep. Gotta keep that precious space. Anyway.
That's totally not a dumb saying.
Totally not. That's KWCE, mate. But anyway.
And who can forget about Gap?
Who could? Anyway, let's see. That was the question I actually wanted to ask you, Anthony. What was the conception for the KWC? Where did it stem from, and what popped into mind when it was first conceived?
That is a great question. Unfortunately, I do not remember where I got the idea to do it from. I do know it was originally called, I know I posted on the forum, but I'll just repeat as well. It was called the Toho Monster Wrestling Federation way back when I first did it. And it was one of the first aspects of the site. So I really wish I could know what inspired me to do this. But at that time, it was mostly me writing the matches. And I was pretty new to a lot of different science fiction films. Like at that point, I literally kind of just discovered the internet. So I was like, oh my God, I've never heard of this film called, Last Days of Planet Earth. It's got all these weird monsters in it. I wanted to write about them as well. So it had a lot of almost creatures that did cameos, giant octopus was in there, of course. Trying to think of what else. I mean, the Latitude Zero guys don't seem as niche now, but they were niche back when that film was kind of unavailable, quote unquote, but they were all in there as well. Mm-hmm. But it was basically just anything that was a monster was in the matches. There was a lot of emphasis on the locations. At that point, it was literally just a picture of the location, and below would be pictures of the monsters as well. And I was churning those things out, but they were not very good, and they were pretty short at that point in time. And I'm sad because the only one I can remember besides I think it was Sanda versus Space Godzilla was the very first one I'd written, but the only other one I remember at all is one because it was just kind of unorthodox, which was Mogura versus Shakiras versus the mutant from Prophecies of Nostradamus, just because it was such a weird combination of all of them, and of course heavily skewed toward the Hezai Mogura at that point.
I'm actually curious. You say Mogura and the mutant are in the same match. I don't know if I'm pretty sure you don't remember, but how did those two fight when the mutants, if I recall correctly, are still the same height of the human? Right, so everything was scaled in there, so they were ginormous. It's like the size of, similar to the way Gaira and Sander are scaled now. But they were killed off pretty quickly by the Shakiras, who became the main adversary of that story. And then the only part I remember is that they were killed by Mogura drilling from the ground up and stabbing him that way. But these matches were very short, so I'm probably overselling what it actually was just by describing it like that. But very quick, not much setup, and then just straight into the match pretty much. And they did not hold up very well. So when we had other authors who came on, like James Webster and Forrest Freund, who's a personal friend, when they came on, I deleted all those old matches because theirs were much better quality than mine were. But I mean,
you still got yours match 0, man.
Still hidden there, sneaking away. And that was sadly the best of the matches I had written. So that's why that one survived versus all the others.
Right until I think it was. Was it you that went to Christian and said, hey, could you do a rewrite of this match or whatever it was?
Correct. Yeah, because I wanted all of my matches gone. I don't know why we got stuck with that one as being something I wanted to redo. Oh, I remember, because at the time when I said to Christian, hey, I'm going to delete all my matches, he said, keep one of them. And so that's the one I kept. And then eventually I kind of turned on my word and said, hey, I want to get rid of this one too. Could you write it? Because at that point we'd kind of set out a certain number. I didn't want to just remove all the numbers back one, for example. It would have been too much work. So he took it upon his shoulders to rewrite that one.
It's a good rewrite. I'll give it that. So
Yeah.
It's also funny because like of all the aspects of the site, two things when Toho contacted us kind of stood out to them. One was at the time all of the we were doing CD covers, DVD covers, VHS covers at that time. They weren't too happy with that, so we had to fix those. But the other thing they had a lot of interest in for some reason was what's now called the KWC. So that's why you see all the copyright and stuff on there. But they went through all those matches. Trying to remember all the other stipulations. But the number one was that, Godzilla, if ever he's mentioned, there's got to be that reserve symbol in there. Which does look odd because it's not in any other part of the site. But that was one of those stipulations. We have the expanded copyright at the bottom there, too.
Really?
I think it was just the fact that it was, kind of quote-unquote original content versus the other stuff, which is kind of more of a reporting on what's out there, which is why they had such a fascination with it. But that's why it looks a little bit different from the rest of the sites, because they had specific stipulations, including renaming. And to be honest, I'm much happier with the current name than the old one. Blah. But so I'm glad that part happened. But just kind of interesting that they narrowed in on that particular part of the site when they had a lot of demands for how things had to change.
Whoa! Oh, that's wow. That's
very interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
That is certainly an interesting plot twist.
Well, hey, now it's the now in regards to KWC, it's after many years and after with Christian and Tom to new writers that are coming out every so often. It's now the second biggest thing on the site. So glad we could keep that up.
Yep. Second only to the monster bios. But yeah, and it's a very, very distant 1 and 2 versus everything else. Number 3 is like the movies and stuff, but that's surprisingly not even close to the number 1 or 2.
Jeez.
Yes, and we've done it without getting subpoenaed by Japanese lawyers. So a solid win on our boat.
Now we just have to avoid giant mouse lawyers. If you know what I
Well,
mean.
it's a good thing you didn't rename it to Kaiju Fight Chronicles, otherwise KFC would have come after you.
Yeah. And I guess I have also one more question to Anthony specifically, since we have brought up like the history and how you originally wrote matches and whatnot. Do you think, I mean, it's unlikely, but I'm just going to ask it anyway. Do you think there's ever a chance we'll be seeing a match from you in the future?
It was I want to say. I'm trying to date this right now because it's flabbergasting, but I think it was 2011 or so. I was an intern at another company because job market wasn't the greatest, although now I'm in a pretty good position now. But at the time, I had some free time on my hands at the actual job. And so I sat down and decided for whatever reason that I wanted to write a new match. And so it was King Kong, Ghidorah, Goliath from Daigoro versus Goliath, and Destroyer. And I had written about a page half maybe. But I don't know, it felt kind of cheesy because Kong wins basically by using Ghidorah as a weapon versus Destroyer, and it sounded worse and worse the further I got along, and so I stopped writing it. But I haven't done anything since then, but that was the closest I ever gotten to talking to Tyler about maybe if I could do my own match and if he would have somebody do a banner for it, but it never got finished. I'm not sure where it is. It's probably on some old work computer somewhere at my parents' house.
All right. Well, that satisfies the questions I always had.
Well, if you ever do finish it, we can definitely get a banner. But no, that'd be exciting nonetheless. But I've got one last question because I actually have to depart in a few moments. But hard-hitting final question: how does it feel to be? How did you enjoy yourself in match 195 as in the April Fool's Day match? Then, because I don't think I ever asked you that. Because I mentioned we had Tom and we had Christian as like the villains, and I wanted to make sure that was okay with you, but I never got that response. I just got, yeah, I got it, and we posted it.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm not. It's weird because I do webinars where I'm actually on camera, and so, but I've never wanted to actually like watch myself on film, so to speak. So at the same time, I read the match and I was like, okay, and I kind of skimmed past it because I wouldn't say that I was shy, but at the same time, it's not my cup of tea to read about myself, I guess, so to speak. So, I mean, it was cool, but yeah, I kind of skimmed past it when I saw that was an element of it.
Okay.
Would you still skim past it if we renamed you Cobra for that story?
I probably would have read the full thing without skimming it, to be honest, if that was the case.
Well, just keep that in mind then.
Okay, so remember, guys, match 300 at April Fool's Day 2019. Anthony versus everyone. But no, awesome. No, I just curious in that regard. But does anyone else have any questions for Anthony?
Well, okay, I guess I might have one more, or two more by that technicality. How often, like, when you receive matches to post on the site, do you read them all through and through, or is it just kind of on and off?
There's got to be at least one or two matches that I haven't read all the way through, and I don't. Usually it's just because of a situation where I don't have enough time to do it. I'll do it just, well, I mean, at the bare minimum, I have to format them, so that part is done. I also do it just to make sure that there's, I'm not sure why, but every so often there'll be like a copy and paste error where something didn't come through right. Like usually it's a paragraph break or something, but regardless, when I'm going through that, I'm sitting there and reading the match as well. And then some of the matches, I don't think they have a winner on them. So, I mean, even if I didn't want to read the matches, which I always do, I'd have to read them to make sure I have the correct winners and losers as well. But again, I think there's only maybe one or two that I haven't read. I know there was one that, God, I think it might have been, was it 200? I think it was 200 where I didn't read it all the way through before I posted it, and I felt bad because usually I do. And that one I had to go back the next day and even the day after that to make sure I read all of that one. But that one was on the longer side. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, there's maybe only one or two matches that I've published that I haven't read. I don't know which ones those may or may not.
Yeah, I will say also major props. Thank you for catching, because yeah, sometimes something gets past me, like there's a banner in regards to like it gets pixelated or something of that nature. And yeah, luckily Anthony's always saying like, "Hey Tyler, this got really this image is pixelated," or "Hey, notice this." I think I said in one situation, I think it was, I want to say it was one of the matches either right before 200 or right after. I had sent him the pre-edited version, so he just got the and I immediately was like, "Oh God, no." Because I think you ended up editing that real quick, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Anthony."
I think. Oh, was that 189? I think no, it wasn't 189. It was. Which one was it?
It was. It was. I know it was before. It was either it was before 200 or it's before 200 or after 200, but it was like in a 10 match spam in that bracket. But
was it 201? I want to say it was 201. I'm not sure.
I'm sure off the top of my... I think it had Gamera, but no, it's yeah, no. Otherwise, he does catch a lot of things in that on my end as well. So appreciate that.
Yep. Anytime. I know you guys do a lot of work on your sides. You at all? I'm always way behind on everything. By nature, there too. Which is why you'll see a delay in terms of when match is given versus posted. I mean, to be honest, if I go over to my email, I've got 109 that I have to manage here, and probably at least 40, if not 50 of those related to the site too. So.
Oh, jeez.
Basically,
Dang.
the rule of thumb here is that if you're trying to submit something and it goes through me rather than somebody else, it'll probably die in my inbox somewhere. Or I'll get to it in a couple years, which has actually happened with a few contributors. Well, I'll get far enough along where I'll actually hit it and go, this sounds good. But usually it's just like I'll actually read everything in there, but then I'll just mentally in my head say how much time will it take to do an update around this, and sometimes I've only got like a few minutes in the night, and sometimes I have an hour where I can sit through and do multiples or even just devote it to one update. But we do try to stick to that guideline of one update every day, so that does mean at the same time I'm budgeting in my mind, if I do this, will I have enough time to do such and such tomorrow if I'm not going to be available to do it. But yeah, I won't make excuses. I'm habitual for letting stuff pile up on my side.
All right. Yeah, and I guess just one more question for me. I guess just as a writer, I'm just naturally curious. Out of the matches that this is just for me personally. Out of the matches I've written, mostly the ones I've written for, which one do you think is your favorite?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Cut out.
Yeah. Out of the matches I've written for, which one is your favorite? Out of my matches.
Oh, for the Andrew student. Huh.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I mean, I want to pick that Mechagodzilla one. I'm just trying to think if there's another one that I can think of.
Right. 150.
And the Mechagodzilla one, I mean the first one where he was introduced and the banner was switched out. But I'm trying to.
Yeah.
And now I'm cheating because I'm looking at all the other matches.
Right.
Because to be honest, I don't remember the matches as much by the authors as much as I remember what happens inside of them.
I see. But I can give you.
Actually, Anthony, I'm not sure if you were around for the when we did the survey, or if you listened to the results of the survey. But yeah, that was kind of like the similar results I noticed, which was people when it came to the matches, people that was easy. But when it came to the banner creators or the writers, there was a bit of an issue, especially when it came to other. We had people saying Matt Frank. We had people saying Jackson Morris was the best writer in the KWC by numerous write-ins. So actually, we might have had one or two of you. So it's been a yeah. It's actually pretty common.
I like Thank You Grodd Breast the most.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was great. Yeah, if you just need a quick
so I think my favorites, because I've just kind of skimmed through them right now. It is that Mechagodzilla one. I also liked Mothra and Batra versus Frankenstein, just because I don't know why, but for some reason I got the vibe that maybe Batra was.
Well, that was one I made.
Happen, so for me that surprised me. And I did like the Black Moth versus Magma one. That one kind of hit. I mean, to be honest, it felt like it was set up so Black Moth was going to win, and so I was pretty shocked when that didn't happen. It was kind of tragic, but thought it was well played there. And I did like, just because it seemed to be leading somewhere, the match where it was Frankenstein, Gyrosanda, and Manda versus the Trilopods as well.
Trilopod and Monster X?
Yeah. Yep. But if I had to pick a single favorite one, it might be either the Black Moth or Mechagodzilla. Now I know I just lied and said I'd only pick one, but I can't pick between those two.
I know. Right.
Well, here, I not to interrupt your question, Andrew, but this is the part where I have to support. Thank you again, Anthony, for joining.
Thanks for having me.
I have to. I think it's gonna be going for like another 20 minutes or so. But no, thank you. It was awesome to have you on. But I'll catch you all later.
All right.
See you, man.
Well, I think.
Take care.
All right. I think we actually hit a decent. I mean, we could probably go on for a couple extra minutes, but I think we hit like a decent conclusion point for the podcast. So.
I got a question.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, yep.
Do you think Godzilla's right in saying that I should fight my own battles?
Do we want to talk about the morals of that movie? Because I don't really gel with them, to be honest. I don't think the answer to a bully is to fight the bully, but I mean, if we want to talk about the morals...
Or you can hire somebody to beat up the bully for you.
Or you can make a dangerous weapon to kill that bully.
The moral ramifications. Goodness.
Like an oxygen destroyer.
Or we could all just talk about it in a boardroom and do nothing.
You guys are goofs. Anyway, I think we'll probably conclude that as for this month's KWCC. So, in the meantime, it was great to have you on here, Anthony. Actually, it was really great to have you here.
Yeah, enjoyed talking about the site and stuff. Enjoy the way you guys meticulously remember all this stuff too. To be honest, quite amazes me. Like the fact that I could say a number for a match and you guys would know what that was is pretty incredible. To be honest, but yeah, I mean, kudos on the amazing work that all you guys are putting into banner creation, thoughtfulness in terms of the matches, the dynamics that happen there as well. I think there's a lot of fan fiction all over on any genre that's out there. And I'm always amazed, to be honest, how much the KWC stuff is a step above a lot of what I read. And so, in one hand, I'm not surprised by all the traffic it gets. The other hand, just want to say, kudos for the work you guys are all doing. I've told Tyler that over and over again. Every so often we talk on the phone. That's usually the way I kind of end the conversation, is reminding him how happy I am with all the work that's being done. So also, again, kudos to all you guys. So
thank you. That really.
I mean, I'm just a simple verifier, but thank you.
Thank you.
I can say it for Andrew and everybody else too. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who put a lot of time into this, and so I'm very appreciative of that. That it's such a good large body of work that we all put together and all have had represented on the site too. Thanks everyone for that.
Absolutely. But that's it. We will be concluding this month's KWCC. We will see you guys next month for the 3rd year anniversary of the KWCC. So until then, folks, see you guys around. And Anthony, if the time allows, hope we could see you again.
Definitely.
Sounds good. Here, guys.
All right. Take care. Good night. And God bless.
God bless.